Hello guys, and welcome to this presentation on Battle Buddies. Battle Buddies is a night out safety app designed to make sure you are safe while you have a night of fun. Battle Buddies utilizes Google Firebase to store and share user data in real time, no matter where they are. Here we have the Battle Buddies app saved to my home screen. We open up the app and land on the login screen. First, let's start off by making an account. We click on the Create Account button and we are prompted to enter our email and password. We will use battlebudmcd@gmail for our email. For this demonstration, we will also use password for our password. In the confirm password, I enter pass instead of password. When I try to make an account, a small message notifying us that the passwords do not match pops up. After I enter a matching password, a message tells us that the account creation was successful. We are then brought to the user profile, where we can customize our account. First, I click on the plus near the profile icon, where I set my profile picture to be this handsome fellow. Two messages pop up telling me that the image was stored to the Firebase storage and the Firebase database. I can click the small plus to change my profile picture to a different one if I happen to click the wrong one. But only a fool doesn't choose the green terror, so I go back to my original choice. I can now choose my display name and phone number to add to my profile. With everything the way I want it, I hit the save button and my account is fully fleshed out. Let's take a look at the Firebase when we were making our account. Here's a list of all authorized users. Here we also see our unique user ID and our email. Now we'll transition over to the Firebase real-time database. Here is where we keep all relevant user and group data. I will collapse all these users and then open up this user that starts with Q. All our user data that we uploaded is here, as well as a group ID variable, which is by default set to -1. Let's head back to that profile page. I click on the profile icon in the bottom right and boom! There's that sexy beast. Let's change up some details. I'll change the email, name, and phone number, then hit save in the top right corner. All that info looks right. Let's check out the database. We look back at Buddies, or should I say, Buds, info. This is before we edit the profile. I cut to a few seconds before we hit the save button earlier, and now see the info update in real time. I liked my old name, so now I'll change it back. Radical, but now I'm having second thoughts about my password. Password is easy for people to guess, so I'll change it to something else. I'll go to Edit Profile, then I'll hit the Change Password button. I enter my old password, then my new big brain password. However, I make a small brain move and mess up my old password and try to change it. Luckily, the message tells me of my mistake. Unfortunately, in a comedy of errors, I managed to mess up my new password, but I am stopped once again. Once I fixed everything, I hit change password and I am told that it was a success and I've been logged out. I log back in with my new credentials and verify it's me by checking my profile page. Now let's make some buddies. I hit the start group button in the middle of the screen and search out some friends. Once I add all of them to my group, I hit done and I'm sent to my group screen. Let's see what happened in the Firebase when we made that group. Once again, I load the real-time database before we made our changes. Another quick cut to right before we make our group and bam, look at that. A new branch called groups was made, and under that we see the ID of the user buddy. If we open the users node, we see his group ID is now his unique user ID. Opening the other users, we see everyone has the same group ID, except this user at the bottom. Now let's check out that group we made. We see that it has info of all the users in it, as well as a location variable, which is used for geofencing. But what can we do in groups? First, let's talk about talking. The message feed is featured at the bottom of the app. I'll hit the message button and a text box will pop up. I'll type in a message, then hit the message button again. Our message is now in the message feed. Hopefully someone will reply. Awesome! I got a notification that Connor replied, as the message popped up in the feed. But how is this done? The groups node updates when I first send a message, and then it updates again when Connor replies. Each chat has a content variable, a timestamp variable, and a user ID variable. The content is the message, the timestamp is when it was sent, and the user ID is the user ID of who sent the message, which determines the picture that shows in the message bubble. Another feature we have is geofencing. Geofencing is simply detecting when another user has left a certain radius. The location we will be geofencing will be the person who created the group, in this case Buddy's, location. We simulate a user's movement by using an emulator we have on a computer. We start off saying Dr. Lin in the geofence, but then we see him leave, as well as receive a notification. Now let's see what happens when he re-enters. We see him move back in and a notification that he's entered. Awesome. Our final feature is the SOS function. To send an SOS, we simply click the floating action button, and then we are told the SOS was sent. Now Connor sends an SOS, which is sent to us as a notification. Alright, now that we're all done with the group, let's leave. I click the 3 dots on the bottom right and leave the group. I log out, then log in as a different user. The group still remains intact for the other members. Let's look at Firebase to see how it happens. There are actually 2 different scenarios we have to consider when someone leaves the group. First, let's show the one we just did, when the user's ID matches the group's ID. Here we see our group. Then the user leaves. The group is recreated with a new group ID value. Everything remains intact here. The second scenario is when the user's ID doesn't match the group ID. They are simply removed from the group. And that's it for this presentation.
And thanks for watching, and be sure to download Battle Buddies on the Android App Store when it releases this summer.